Why are there no hummingbirds in the United Kingdom?
In a land full of world-famous gardens.
In a land that literally explodes into life every spring.
You would think it would be a hummingbird heaven.
But alas, this is not the case.
Take celebrity voices aside. Let's take a look at why.
It would seem completely logical that in the gardens from Cornwall to Kent and Holyhead to Dundee, hummingbirds could easily survive for at least one half of the year. Yet out of the 355 different kinds of hummingbirds on Earth, almost all of them choose to stay in Central and South America. In the United States, Americans only ever see 15 different kinds. And those 15 kinds are widely scattered across thousands of miles in a nation that the UK would fit into 40 times over. We cannot say for certain that there has never been a hummingbird in the UK. There is one bird called a rufous hummingbird that might possibly have been seen. Reportedly after an unusual weather pattern had blown him off course. If you have seen this hummingbird, we urge you to call your local bird club right away. The rufous looks almost exactly like this hummingbird. I would say the name of the bird, but the AI software cannot say it right, so I will just write it on the screen.
Alan!
Let's turn this conversation over to a local and perhaps wiser expert.
There is one other species, the green violetier hummingbird. Yes, that's what I said. Violet hummingbirdie, a bird that has technically made it to Europe, though not the UK. It has been seen in the Azores, Madeira, and the Canary Islands, but only after a major storm. Will the UK ever have hummingbirds? Some people think that global weather changes could make that possible, but those are the same people who said that AI would never take off. So let's not get our hopes up just yet. But even if that did happen, gardeners in the UK would have to plant a lot of large tubular flowers to feed the birds. You would also have to start selling thousands of hummingbird feeders at local garden centers. Some people in Latin America have the idea that a hummingbird feeder is bad for hummingbirds. But this idea is not true. It is bad to not clean your feeder, but it is very helpful to put a feeder out. Every summer, people in the UK report hummingbird sightings, but this has always turned out to be the hummingbird hawk moth. This moth hovers over flowers and drinks nectar. It even makes a soft buzzing sound. So the confusion is understandable. Besides, who wouldn't want to see a hummingbird?
I would love to see a hummingbird.
But you're not even British. You can see them every day.
Kitty ate all my hummingbirds.
Then you should keep Kitty inside. Now go away. I am telling a story.
Can I see a hummingbird?
The Museum of Natural History in London has a lot of dead hummingbirds.
But seeing a hummingbird in a glass case that has passed on isn't the same. Alive hummingbirds have character and a range of opinions to share, which is why so many people who care for them fall in love.
It sounds like seeing a stuffed one in a museum is not going to do much for you.
Please don't speak of the ones that are no longer with us. It is far more exciting to have an alive bird turn to look at you and flash those amazing colors.
If you want to see one alive, you should fly to the United States or Canada.
Are you absolutely sure that I will see one if I do that?
I will tell you. Now listen carefully and stop asking questions. Walking around the streets of Los Angeles, you will see hummingbirds every day of the year. But if you go to Miami in Florida, the chances are very low. Vancouver, Canada has a hummingbird who lives there even during the winter.
That's great. I will go to Vancouver, Canada.
That is a way. Together.
If the flowers have gone by the time you arrive, you can find hummies near a feeder that is being actively tended.
I can't wait. Let us depart immediately.
Thank goodness for that. Let's get back to our purpose. There were hummingbirds in Europe about 30 million years ago. The last common ancestor of all living hummingbirds is from 22 million years ago. North and South America had already split off by then, and the United Kingdom had largely taken shape. Continental Europe was there, but with a lot more water across it. So to see a real hummingbird in the United Kingdom, you would need to go back to the early Miocene era during what they call the Aquitanian stage. The forest animals around you would not be too radically different. There was a mouse-like creature that was called a prolagus, and some animals that almost looked like the deer of today. The megalodon was around if you fancied a swim. Maybe that is how we pronounce it in England. Did you ever consider that? In South America, they had this fierce creature. He is called a tocodon. Takalakading, Tomocodon. Exactly. But our ancestors who walked upright on their own feet were still 15 million years away. So it was not until the 1500s that anyone in Britain even knew hummingbirds existed. Yes, I am the Noob. A Frenchman named Jean de Lery traveled to Brazil in 1557. When he returned, he wrote a book that had a description of a hummingbird in it. By the 1800s, having a stuffed hummingbird in your natural history collection in the United Kingdom was a must. In 1851, at the Crystal Palace in London, Queen Victoria would have been able to see 300 hummingbird specimens. It was reported that the jeweled feathers on display dazzled the crowds.
How did they taste?
What on earth?
When they ate the hummingbirds, did they like them?
They did not eat the hummingbirds.
Surely they did. They ate everything back then. Turtles, sheepheads, leather shoes, swans, garden snakes.
There is no written information that anybody ate any of the hummingbirds.
Shame. I bet they're tasty.
These birds are about 5 centimeters tall. How do you even cook that? They are not worth the effort. The oldest hummingbird fossils were found in southeastern Germany in 2004. This fossil is from 30 to 35 million years ago. Since that finding, 6 more fossils from that period have been found across Germany, Poland, and France.
But there are huge gaps in the fossil record. Maybe someday we'll find an ancient one that was trapped in amber. Or maybe someone in the United Kingdom will make a discovery to update the fossil record.
Where did you come from?
I am your conscience, your inner scientist.
I see. Tell me, inner scientist, why did the European hummingbird disappear?
The most scientists can say, until they have more information, is to guess that other nectar-feeding species like sunbirds or honey creepers outcompeted the hummingbird. But to me, that doesn't tell the full story. Sunbirds and honey creepers that survive on nectar also don't exist today in Europe. And neither does this cute honey possum. But he eats nectar. Sadly, he is only found in the southwest of Australia. The key to finding out if hummingbirds ever existed in the United Kingdom is the discovery of more fossils. So let's get digging.
Smithers, fetch my golden shovel and prepare the private jet. We are headed to the United Kingdom